oh, you don't understand. I don't do any selling in the DMs. I sell in my marketing. I think in the last 18 months, I've closed probably 250 people through the DMs or through like a basic sales page with no sales calls, never dealing with objections ever, because I focus specifically on the strength of my marketing.
On today's episode, you're going to see how my client Dan landed over 250 clients all through the DMs. This resulted in $1.5 million in sales, and he did it not through some fancy script or complex funnel or, I don't know, running expensive paid ads. He actually did it all through the power of his content, specifically his YouTube content. His channel has less than 5,000 subscribers, and yet he made $1.5 million in sales because of his content. So if you are someone that wants to learn how you can create content that attracts your dream audience, but also pre-sells them, so you don't have to have a sales call, then this is going to be the perfect episode for you. Now, I want to warn you, this is like really revealing, and he shares a lot. And I encourage you to wait until the end, because what he shares at the very end is what ties everything together. And if you just click off after the first 5 minutes, you're going to miss the nugget that's actually going to unlock infinite game to help you grow and scale your business. So without further ado, let's jump in to the episode. You mentioned something in your story that you had the standard to not take sales calls. I think everyone listening and watching this right now is like, how in the hell do you sell without talking to the person? I think that's a very, very unique thing that you are very skilled at. And it comes from your content. So I'd love to hear about your process and your methodology for creating content that attracts this dream client, this person that you'd want to be friends with, right? Can you maybe walk us through?
Yeah, for sure. So like the misconception with selling in the DMs is that there's like a secret script that gets people to hand you over thousands of dollars, like, or replicating a whole sales call. I remember talking to someone and he's like, dude, I'm closing the DMs. It's great. The voice memos are a bit annoying. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, like going back and forth, like asking them questions and they answer the questions. And basically he was spending a few hours sending voice notes instead of spending 30 minutes on a call. And I was like, oh, you don't understand. I don't do any selling in the DMs. I sell in my marketing. And so where this started for me was in 2019 with this 997 program that I had. That was all through the DMs. And so we all have the awareness that there's a price point that you can sell without jumping on a call. Many of us have bought those things, the $7 ebook, the $97 course, whatever it might be. And so I got 150 students into this program with like a DM funnel where it was like, people came from a Facebook ad to a Facebook group. And in the Facebook group, there was like a mini webinar and then the call to action was DM me. And then I'd send them like a short PDF. And if I just played the numbers game and got enough people through, like it crushed. It worked really, really well. Yeah. But I had this belief that that started and ended with that price point. Oh, it works for $1,000 thing, but we sell a $5,000 thing. We sell a $10,000 thing. And so last year I was just like, I'm just going to try this out. And I had a number of people that had been in my world and vicinity for a while and following some stuff. So there was a lot of pre-selling that had already taken place. So I put it all in like this Notion doc, really basic, and I got some sales and I was like, oh, damn. Right. But then of course it's like that group of people runs out. Like, how do I get more of those people? So this is where I started kind of just testing out YouTube and things like that. And like in the beginning, it was like, if I just put YouTube videos out that are helpful, it will work. But over time, I really refined this strategy. And there were a couple of key pieces to it. The first was like, there's this amazing framework from Aristotle on the 3 pillars of influence. And so Aristotle talks about the three pillars is ethos, pathos, and logos. And so the first part of this is ethos is that people have to trust the messenger. Forget the message. Do people trust you? And so the first job that you have to do in your marketing content is people have to get to know you to a point where they trust what you say. Like, no matter what you're selling, there is always going to be a crowd of people that are in disbelief. Is this going to work for me? It doesn't matter whether you are selling like how to get more members for your gym, or I can help you with video content, or I can help you start a coaching business. There's always going to be a disbelief of like, is this a scam? How does it work? How do I know you're legit? And so ethos is such a key piece where like people need to identify key parts of their story that they continually intertwine in all of their content. It's not just one piece of content. They'll talk about that in a second. It is throughout, whether you're focused on Instagram, YouTube, email, X, it's sharing enough of your personality. And one of my original mentors and really good friends, Taki Moore, he says, people don't buy coaching, they buy coaches. And when you understand that, you go, oh, I need to let myself be authentic. I need to really create a connection between who I am offline, the person that if someone sat down with me for a coffee, they would experience, and how do I bring that person online? This isn't the mirage of who we are. This is like the real authentic us. And this doesn't mean we turn our content into a journal, right? Where we're like, I'm struggling with this today and I just had this for lunch. But it's about like your core convictions, your personality, your values, your hobbies. Are you married? Are you not married? Do you have kids? Like
The things that connect us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to understand this is just think about the people that you most admire, the people's content who you consume. Like think about a Joe Rogan. Like Joe Rogan doesn't make sense in so many different ways. Biggest podcast in the world, crazy long podcasts, MMA fighter, UFC host, Fear Factor host.
Yeah. Like what's his niche?
Exactly. And so the reason that people resonate with his content is because they resonate with him. Like he is not afraid to be on a podcast and ask the really dumb questions that all of us are wondering, right? And so he lets him, like you never listen to a Joe Rogan episode and go, man, this guy is fake. Like he is 100% himself. So point number one, in all of your content, you need to be bringing that out. Core stories, personality, and not trying to be anyone you're not, right? You want to move away from being an echo, which is the version of yourself that's just trying to be like your 10 favorite influencers, and really develop that voice, really develop that sense of uniqueness and authenticity. The second thing is pathos. And in this context, like how I talk about that is we all have a unique edge or a unique kind of mechanism that we're trying to teach. And so, you know, a huge one these days is like school memberships, right? When I first got started, it was like we had this unique way of doing Facebook ads. And so the first question that people ask in your content, and if they're thinking about working with you, is like, can I trust this person? The second thing is like, how do I know this would work for me? Right? So you have a mechanism. You're like, we taught Facebook groups for years. So we realized if someone jumped on a sales call and they were still trying to figure out if a Facebook group was for them, that call was going to be long and hard and result in like multiple follow-ups and a lot of like, let me think about it, because that person's not sold on what we teach. That person's not sold on the mechanism, the method, the model. And so pathos is really about people understanding how this is a new opportunity. Russell Brunson talks about in Expert Secrets, like you're a charismatic leader, it's ethos, with a new opportunity. So you go, this is the old way. The old way is this. This is all the frustrations you're probably feeling. But this is the new way. So if you think about like nutrition, no one wants to be told they need to eat less and move more, right? That's the old way. Now you don't reinvent the wheel, but like when people talk about their new way, like there's guys like Gary Brecker, I'm trying to think of the Health Space. There's so many different people, right?
Yeah.
They're always packaging like a new way to think about it. Like, did you know
New way
that
to lose weight.
Yeah. It's not that you're eating too many calories. It's that your metabolism is damaged. And so if we get to the root and we fix your metabolism, you fix your hormones. And if you fix your hormones, you fix your thyroid. And if you fix your thyroid, you know, your body will deal differently with sugars and fats and carbs and things like that. And you will lose weight more effortlessly. Interesting. So now people need to understand how that works and how that would work for them. And how that will deal with the fact that they've tried everything and it hasn't worked. And now can get great results. And then the last part is logos. So how does this work? If we were going to work together, like how does this thing work? So what my focus is in my content is ethos and pathos. It's me and it's what I teach. And what I teach is I call it the value creator way, right? And then a year from now, 2 years from now, that might evolve because I might learn different things and integrate different parts into the mechanism. And so the simple way to understand it is strong marketing equals easy sales. And that's when you can sell in the DMs. Weak marketing equals hard sales. That's where you're in the DMs and you're like, please buy from me. And you're getting ghosted and you're following people up. And like, I think in the last 18 months, I've closed probably 250 people through the DMs or through like a basic sales page or through a Notion doc with no sales calls, never dealing with objections ever, because I focus specifically on the strength of my marketing.
It's so crazy you say that, because before I started my agency, in my past life, I always say I was a sales rep, as an account executive, and I worked for a big software company called SAP. And oftentimes a sales cycle would be like 3 months, 6 months, even a year. And it was always because of this thing that you're talking about, that strong marketing equals easy sales, weak marketing equals harder sales. I spent a year to sell one thing to one company, when if they just actually had better marketing, that sales process, and high ticket software, like big complex software ERP systems. And so I really, really resonate with that message. And so if I want to now, okay, I understand the ethos, I have to understand the pathos, I have to talk about who I am, share more of my values, I talk about the unique mechanism, the new opportunity. Like, now you create content in a very unique way. It's not fancy bells and whistles. Like right now we're in a studio, which is pretty epic, but your day-to-day content is like iPhone, MacBook, webcam. So walk us through, like, a lot of people believe that they need this in order to sell. They need this level when this is not necessarily needed, but it's a nice to have. But walk us through how you are creating content through your day-to-day and bringing these people and showing who you are, showing your unique mechanism, and walk us through that process.
Yeah, so I'll preface this by saying this is what works for me. And I think the key is that everything works, right? There are people that do have heavily edited videos and they're on 27 platforms and they've got the team and they're making money. And so like, I could never say like, this is the right way, but this is what works for me. And so when I started really taking content seriously, it was in 2022. So before that, the most I ever did in content was like, I would post on my Facebook profile, really haphazardly. I would have a Facebook group of like 6,000 people and so do regular trainings in there. But content was like it was bare minimum effort. It was like, what do I have to do this week to generate leads for my appointment setters to send messages? And because of that, weak marketing equals hard sales. So it was like, we had appointment setters like sending messages all day and salespeople doing 1, 2, 3 call closes. And so at the end of 2022, I was like, I really want to go back to the note I wrote in 2018. And I was like, I just want to create content for the fun of creating content. And so I did what most people assume to do. I was like, I'm in a studio, had got an editor. And so I had a video editor based out of the Ukraine, and he was good. And then I was like, I'm going to take it to the next level. And I got a content manager that then managed the editor. And I started building out this team to the point where at some point I was paying like $21,000 a month to like, I'm getting reels and thumbnails. And it got to a point where like someone messaged me and they said, oh, you've stopped posting on YouTube. And I realized I hadn't posted in 2 months because I had 20 videos that I hadn't reviewed from the team. And I looked at like the content review channel. And every time I looked at that, I was just like, got like, I just didn't want to do it. There was so much resistance. I would like look at the video and I was like, I liked the video that I shot, but now that you've added like animations and text and like this is misspelled and this doesn't represent and this video title sucks, we would be in this loop of like reviewing. And I was like, this is crazy. And so one day I was just sitting there and I was like, what would be the easiest version of this for me? And I was like, it would be, I shoot a video on my phone. I come up with the title then, or typically I come up with the title before I even shoot the video. And then I hit upload in that moment. And I upload it to one platform. And I'm not trying to be omnipresent, and like, that's what I'm going to do. And so I've been doing that for probably about a year, and it's worked really well. And again, it's not to say that there's a secret hack. Like, I think people think in terms of like secret, like magic pills, like, oh, what's trending right now is no thumbnail. But you can still find like the biggest, YouTubers in the space, they do thumbnails and they do editing, like everything works. Yeah. But for me, I realized I just no longer wanted to build my business around any level of obligation. I don't want to do this because I think I have to. I only want to do things that feel fun, that feel frictionless, and that feel like a sense of ease to it. And so in the last year, I've been like, okay, I went from posting on X and YouTube Shorts, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do Instagram, and I'm going to post when I feel like it, which is sometimes 5 times in a week and sometimes nothing for 2 weeks. And then I'm going to post on YouTube when I feel like it about stuff that I feel like posting. And one of the things that I think I've really realized is, I have this idea of becoming energetically attractive. One of the things that happened for me at the start of last year was I really consciously made a decision of like, I'm no longer going to live from the energy of I need people to say yes to working with me, or for current clients, I need them to stay. I'm just going to release everybody. And that was both a one-time decision and like I've got work to do. Like every time you thought someone was going to sign up and they didn't, you have the emotional reaction. But I'm like, I need to detach from this. And so when I used to create content, it was like, I need to generate leads, right? I'm doing this to make money. And then I just changed my attitude towards it, which is like, I'm going to create the content I want to create. I'm going to create the content that someone I wish had created when I was coming up and I could watch. And I'm going to do it in such a way that I'm literally doing it for the love of the game. And when you do that, people can feel you don't need anything from them. So like whether that video makes money or doesn't make money, not even that I track that, but I was like, I just don't care. Like I trust that if I simply try to help people and I serve them, and there is still a funnel, right? There's still like the next step to take in Dan's world. There's an ebook that leads to like a mini webinar, and then there's a clear call to action to send me a DM. So it's not like I don't have strategy, but I don't have desperate energy anymore. And the irony was, when I made that decision, getting clients became way easier because I didn't need them anymore. So when I was in the DMs with someone, I was like, I don't need you to sign up. And so they're like, why should I pick you over XYZ? And I'm like, I don't know. You should just trust your gut. Like just go with whatever you feel to do. Like and literally people would go, oh, like I'm in. Like they would sell themselves because they realized I wasn't going to sell them. And so that bleeding into content, that energetic attractiveness, I think people are so used to being manipulated. They're so used to things being fake scarcity and urgency that if I look back at all of my YouTube videos, I only have one YouTube video out of probably the couple of hundred that are there that has a call to action. And that's my mini webinar. Everything else, nowhere in a video do I tell someone to message me, to go through a funnel, to download something. It's all just me sharing stuff that I think would be helpful. And so I by no means have the biggest channel or anything like that. I'm not a YouTube growth expert, but when I upload a video these days, it gets about 1,000 views in the first day or two. And when I picture 1,000 people, what that size of a room would look like, you do not need that many people within that 1,000 people to be interested in wanting to take next steps with you. And if you just do that consistently and you keep honing your craft, you keep sharpening like that specialization of how you talk about your messaging, how you talk about your stories, you naturally get better. The quality of your videos get better. They get pushed further. The people that have been watching for 6 months, they hear your message in a fresh way. It resonates at a deeper level. And that's just what I focus on for content, is like, there might be a time where I rebuild a team, and I'm not opposed to any of that. But right now I'm optimizing for simplicity and flow and ease. So I focus in on one channel with Instagram, and then I just post YouTube videos whenever I want. And then I promote that on Instagram.
How many views are you getting?
So yeah, about 1,000 in the first day or two, but it will range. Like some will get 800, some will get, like I posted one a few weeks ago that got 6,000. For me, it's always about audience, like depth, never about width. Like I have clients that have 2 million subscribers on YouTube and they make less money. So it's never about how many subscribers you have. It's always about the depth of connection that people have. Like there are people that I remember hearing this story years ago of a TikToker that had 1 million followers on TikTok, and then they decided to do a meetup, and 0 people came to that meetup. And I don't think it's because those followers are not real. It's because the depth of connection just isn't there. And I think this kind of speaks to this idea of long form content. There's something about long form content that is so much more powerful than short form content. If you think about, like, I followed people on like Instagram Reels. I couldn't even tell you their name, but I've watched like 20 Reels over a year. And I'm like, I've spent 20 minutes with them total. And so one of the things, I think there was a study done, but I've also found this anecdotally, that trust is built not through chronology, where it's not like a linear, like someone has to follow you for 2 weeks, 2 months, 6 months in order to be ready to buy. That's irrelevant. I've had people come through, not know me, 24 hours later, pay me 16 grand or 20 grand, right? And it is about hours of content consumed. So there was a magic number that I don't pay too much attention to this, but apparently there was a study where it's something like 7 hours of content consumed.
7 hours across 11 touch points in 4 locations by Google.
So so that sounds true. So I don't pay attention to that in the sense of I need to figure out how to get people to 7. I go, if I can just create a library of content that people want to binge, then I'm imagining sales is going to become easier for me. And so that was the phenomenon that I found with YouTube specifically, way more. Like I did reels every day. I did 2 reels a day for months and months and months. I didn't see any lift in business whatsoever. In fact, my engagement went down. And I would look at my page and go, I don't even like this. Like the quality, I was going for volume, like the quality of the stuff I'm putting out, and feel like I'm proud of it. But when I focus on long form content, I would have people be like, I just did a 5-hour road trip and just binged a bunch of your YouTube videos. Like, tell me about working with you.
Yeah.
But I'm like, they just binged 5 hours of content without a single call to action. And the natural response was, I need to reach out to Dan to see if he can help me grow my business. And so if people can build their business around some kind of long form content, whether it's long form written or video or audio, the thing that works best for them, it makes getting clients so much easier, as opposed to the mentality I had for years, which is, how do I do the least to then get people into a sales conversation? And that's where you typically have to spend stacks of time convincing someone, stacks of time, dealing with your objections. And then also on the other side of that, that person might not even be sold and they ask for a refund or they cancel 5 minutes into it. When I focus on strong marketing, when I focus on long form content, I attracted amazing people that, like I just did a podcast earlier today with someone who's been working with me for 5 years, right? Wow. But that person is retained because they also consume my long form content. Like, it's such a funny cycle how it's like people will literally be like the video you just released is amazing. And I'm like, but you pay me to get secret content and you're still watching the free content. It's just hilarious how it works.
Yeah.
Investing in content and a library of that demonstration of ethos and pathos is really how you pre-sell people.
It's incredible. I love how it aligns with your clarity, right? Going back to you want things simpler, simple. You want to live a life of freedom, and you can make things complex and add all those things if that works, and then if that aligns with your vision and your clarity and what you want, right? But how do you make things easier? And that's why I love tools like AI that are coming in and helping us, repurpose some of this content. Like, I'll be using AI with this podcast, not to edit it for me, but to help me with the heavy lifting. Like, I'm going to go back and watch this over, and it can help find the moments and share things. So by creating long form content, it's kind of like a more leverage, I find. You can create more with your time. So spending an hour here with me on this podcast, you're not only creating YouTube content, you're also creating short form content. So you still are that leverage is there, right?
Yeah. Or you spend an hour sending 100 cold DMs.
Yeah. I mean, what's better?
Yeah. But it's a really important point, which is, are you focusing on things that have an evergreen lasting effect? And so I think most people, when I'm looking over the shoulder of clients coming in, it's like they're busy and not productive. And so when I've reduced the amount of hours I work, it's because the things I'm working on are so critical that I can sustain a business at multiple 7 figures working so few hours, because I'm doing work only I can do. I'm not doing work that AI can do. I'm not doing work that can be done by a $7 an hour VA. I'm doing really critical work. I'm building assets. I'm creating leverage. I'm building systems and process. And I think that's how you really level up, is not in as just a strategy. You're not just one funnel away. It is in the way that you think. And I've seen this time and time again, where it's like successful people really think about how they allocate time differently. They did a study a number of years ago where it was like the most successful CEOs spend 1 day a week thinking about how they're going to spend the next 4. Right? But that's counterintuitive to most people. They wake up and they're clicking around 27 tabs and they're listening to the 17th podcast of the week, and they're wondering why they're not growing. And it's because they're not working on the right stuff. So it's far less important how much you work and far more important on what you're working on.